statement, and we'll open it up to questions. Coach?
Yeah, I'm excited about the win. I thought this was a tough win to get. It wasn't the prettiest, it wasn't the most fluid, but I thought we were able to do what we needed to do, and we did a really good job on the boards. I thought when we needed buckets, we found buckets. When we needed stops, we found them, and I'm proud of our team for that.
We'll go to questions, and we'll start with Maria.
The offensive rebounding obviously jumps out. Jordan Horston and Lakia Jackson, they sometimes just seem to get off the floor before anybody else does. Just how key was that, particularly I think that one Jordan grabbed in the fourth quarter when that game was getting awfully tight.
Yeah, we've been working hard on our offensive rebounding production, and obviously we have a lot of players that can impact the game there, but Rakia and Jordan and their athletic ability, their quickness to the ball, their quickness off the ground, and their size gives them a great advantage in that area. Also think they're pretty active offensively, and I think that makes them a little bit harder for defenses to box out.
Obviously, it was a stellar game from Jordan all around, but especially at the end, I mean, she really took over and sort of sealed it for you. What did you see from her at that time?
It was 13-9, right? 13-9 in the fourth quarter for her, and I think when we needed those buckets, she got them. I thought she was really aggressive, getting in the paint, finding opportunities. Not settling as much there in the second half, and in particular in the fourth quarter, she was able to get really good looks, and she was pretty persistent. Once she got her shot blocked, comes back, and I think she ended up getting the score on that one. So loved her relentlessness, especially in the fourth quarter.
Laura?
Kellie, you guys gave up 22 in the third, but then turned around, held into 15, and closed out the game, especially with Jasmine Franklin making some really big stops there at the end. What can you say about the defensive response, I guess, especially when, maybe games in the past, that wasn't the case when you turn around the fourth quarter and turn it on?
Yeah, I wasn't particularly excited about our defense in the third quarter. We gave up 4 threes in the third, and that was an emphasis coming out of the halftime. So, we've got to be better there. We've got to translate scouting report better than we did today. But in the fourth quarter, we tightened it up. Jasmine made 2 or 3 really big plays on the defensive end, and as did several of our players. Some go unnoticed with some of their plays. Again, Jordan Walker did a heck of a job defensively, especially down the stretch. So, really, I thought our communication was where it needed to be in the fourth when it got tight. We just maybe want to see that in the third as well next time.
We'll go to Alexa, followed by Carthage.
Hi, Kellie. What do you think your team could take away or learn from this game that can help you just more broadly for the rest of the season as you guys continue on this trajectory?
Yeah, I think, we can, offensively, we didn't get as many post touches as we need. So if you're looking X's and O's, we've got to be able to deliver the ball. We had some opportunities and just didn't get it inside. And I think, we can look back at the last 5 games or so and realize that's a big part of our offense. We've got to make sure that's still incorporated. And again, defensively, we've got to be able to translate the scouting report to in-game situations. We've got to be a little bit forward thinking. I thought our pace was good part of the game, and then it wasn't good part of the game, and we've got to find some consistency with our pace as well.
Carthage, followed by Maria.
Coach, I know you get to see Jordan Horston, practice and play a lot, but are you ever just awestruck by what they were doing? 13 points and 9 rebounds in the fourth?
I'll tell you what. In the fourth quarter, I was a big cheerleader. I was cheering loud for her. She got me pretty excited and fired up when she got in there and got some of those boards and putbacks. She's a special player. There's no doubt about it, and she's fun to watch. And in that moment, you just enjoy getting to see good basketball.
Maria, Cora, and then Zach.
Jillian really held her own, going against the senior post. Just overall, her defense and her ability tonight on both ends.
Yeah, I thought what we were able to do, we threw 3 different looks at Carter, and Caroline came. She was going to be a little bit more physical. Jillian brings the size, and then Jazz brings the quickness. I think, Jillian had some really good possessions there where she was contesting really high, got some boards, and was proud of her. I thought she was pretty active defensively as well. So I think that's big strides for her. I'm really proud of her.
Cora.
Your team has now won 3 SEC games by double digits, and they weren't breezy, easy games. There were runs made, and you really had to play hard all the way to the end. How can you see the very tough non-conference schedule kind of paying off in these moments?
Well, I don't think we've lost poise in any of our SEC games, even when our opponents are making runs. I think we've stayed pretty even. When we weren't playing well, I think we would bounce back pretty quickly. I do think that's a little bit a product of what we've seen in the past. I think our team is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think they believe they can overcome mistakes. They can get it back on the other end, whether that's an offensive or defensive mistake. So, I think I think that's important. I don't know if the confidence came from the early part of the schedule, but they're definitely playing with that now.
Zach.
Kelly, I heard Rick Barnes this week mention part of the reason he likes Zakai Ziegler coming off the bench is because he wants to see maybe how referees are going to call a game once they kind of settle in. Then he comes in, he kind of creates his own game. Anything similar there with Rakia coming off the bench and just kind of changing the game when she's in?
No, not in terms of how the game's being played, but you just know she's sitting over there. It's a nice weapon to have, and she is going to change the game when she comes in. The opponent will change what they're doing when she comes in the game. They're looking to see when she's going in. We can put her in different spots. We can do some different things when she's in there. Obviously. She came in. We were able to. She was in the first half. Well, she was able to get in and influence the game on the boards really quickly.
We'll go next to Ryan, followed by Cora.
You said in regards to Kia playing her old team that her teammates would have to kind of lift her up throughout the game. So how do you feel like they did in that role in a high emotion contest? I
thought our team stuck together. I thought our team pulled for each other. I thought the communication was good. I thought it was really positive. I thought there were a few times we were a little bit low energy, and I thought they picked each other up during that time, not just Rakia in that situation, but overall. So everything from my perspective and what I saw was really positive.
Cora, Casey, and then Caleb, and then Maria.
You guys didn't have a terrible shooting night by any means, but it wasn't the best shooting night you guys have had, but still put up 80 points. I guess, what does that say about your offense, especially moving forward, and SEC play, and how beneficial could that be for you guys?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Looking at the stats, obviously, if you're putting up 80, you're probably thinking you're really high shooting percentage. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't stellar. I think that's where the possessions, we had a lot of possessions, and the offensive boards really made a big difference there, in my opinion. But the pace, the possessions, and the board play really got us to 80.
Casey.
You kind of touched on this a little bit with the offensive rebounds, but the amount of second chance points that you guys had tonight was insane. I believe it was 20-30, if I'm not mistaken. Just how important was that, especially early on when you guys had 8 in the first quarter and you only had a 7-point lead after that first quarter? How important was that early on?
Yeah, we've been working really hard on our boards. I think that's been something that we've emphasized. That we just look different than we did in November on the boards, and I'm proud of that. I think we have people that are buying in and understand that's got to be a big part of who we are and what our offense is. That helps you when you have an off shooting night. That helps you when your offense isn't clicking 100%. It gives you a chance to still put points on the boards and take some pressure off your defense.
Just to interject real quickly, 25 offensive boards ties the season high. Caleb?
Against Alabama and again tonight, I felt like things get dicey in the fourth quarter at times. Can you talk about the mentality of finishing an opponent when you've been leading the whole game in the fourth?
Yeah, I think for our players, we've got to understand all these little plays matter. I thought when it looks like we might be able to pull away and a little bit in the third, but in the fourth, we'd make a mistake. Whether that was a turnover or a defensive error. I think that's where just a few more plays, and it maybe doesn't get as tight as it got. I bet that's the game. They're sitting there the other way, going a few more plays, and they think it's even a closer ball game. And it's just the way it is. The margin for error, or the margin is so small. One play in the middle of the third quarter could result in momentum. And you've got to understand, when you're out there, every possession is precious, whether you're on the offensive end or the defensive end.
All right, we'll go ahead and go to Cora next, followed by Maria.
Only 8 turnovers tonight against a team that averages 11 steals a game, a lot more turnovers for their team. How positive is that to you, that lower turnover trend is continuing, but also against teams that, that's kind of their thing, forcing turnovers and getting steals?
Yeah, that was a good number. That was a really good number, especially the way they play, like you said, who we're playing and the style of play, and then how the game was played. It wasn't easy for us offensively, but we just didn't have a lot of turnovers. Our mistakes probably were more in execution today than actual decision making and turnovers. So, we can clean up a few things there. If we can clean up our execution a little bit better, and then keep those turnovers down, things could look a little prettier.
Maria.
Coach, time to take the show on the road now. 2 straight road games, starting at Vanderbilt and then, of course, Texas A&M. Just what's your message to your team to keep this momentum? Because you know how dicey the SEC gets, and especially on the road.
Yeah, for us, again, I know I've talked about this a lot, you've got to be consistent. You have to be consistent each and every night, home, away, doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter their record, you have to be consistent. And that's going to be important for us when we take the road. And I think we've got to be mature. We've got to be able to handle our business. I thought we did that at Florida on the road. We didn't start the game well, but we remained poised and got a good win on the road there. So hopefully our players are feeling good and try to carry some momentum over to Nashville.
Quick follow-up. Your players said the exact same thing. Do you like that they're just sounding like you?
Yes. Let me tell you, that makes me so happy when they are saying the same things. When not just saying the same things, but when they actually verbalize it in the exact same way. I know they're listening. I know they're hearing. Even if they're not buying in, at least they're spitting it back out to you. I think they get it, right? I think they understand. It's the same thing. You hear it in practice. To me, that's when I know I have an aha moment. When I can hear them in practice talk to each other and use the same language that I use the same phrases that the coaching staff uses, that you're getting somewhere when you're hearing that. That makes me happy, Maria.
Ryan, then Cora.
For Tess, I believe that's her second straight game with 4 made threes. Is that something you just kind of felt like was due for her, or something you could see coming?
Yeah, Tess has been shooting the ball well in games and practices. We're trying to find ways to get her more looks. I thought we found her a few times. We didn't make great passes to her a few times, and she might have rushed one. But I tell you, when you're shooting as well as she's shooting, you want her to try to get a few more attempts up. So, we're going to keep looking for her. She continues to spread the defense and gives our other players a lot of opportunities to play one-on-one.
Cora.
I believe you were referencing the Florida game when you said this, but you said you were really happy they got the win because they did everything right leading up to it. So kind of going off that preparation, how important is that belief in the preparation you guys have in the game plans, because they can see it paying off? Like, how important is that buy-in on that part of your guys' season?
Yeah, I think it's important because we're going to constantly ask our team to be good in certain areas. We're going to ask them to do something different. We're going to ask for more, and they've got to understand the why, and they've got to trust that that's going to correlate. And right now, they believe in it. They believe in how we're doing things. They believe in practice. They believe in the drills we're doing. They understand why the details are important right now.
All right, we'll go to Maria for one more, and then if anyone has any other questions about the Vanderbilt game on Sunday, please bring those forth.
Kelly, this is a non-basketball question, but the NFL game this Monday night where the player literally had a heart attack on the field, that sort of resonated all through sports. Did y'all talk about it at all, or did the players talk about it, or did it just tell you how quickly something can change on any field of play at any time?
Yeah, we didn't talk about it as a team. I know for me personally, you know, it was hard to watch, and really does remind you that we're blessed every day to get to do what we do, to get to go out and play a game that we love. And you know, I talk about this often with the team. You know, too many instances we're reminded of how short life is, and you've got to be able to embrace the moment and enjoy the opportunities that we have.
Cora.
Looking forward to Sunday. After seeing your team in 3 SEC games, what's most important to you to see on Sunday, or like what steps are you really hoping to see in the next game?
Well, I'd like to see our energy high. I would like to see turnovers low. I'd like to see us be able to defend at an elite level with a lot of communication and a lot of intelligence. And then offensively, want to be able to just, you know, find what we need to find. Whatever defense we see, find what we need to find, and you know, be able to be ourselves on the boards as well. That's none of that is rocket science. You know, that's who we are, and that's what we told our team before the game. Our game plans rarely change going into every game. We want to be. We know what we need to do to be a good basketball team. We just have to go out and do it.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you guys for being here.